Dallas Cowboys are just a couple of days away. They're headed toward Tampa Bay. I'm looking at the latest Bet Online line, and the Cowboys have dropped to a 2.5-point favorite over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That line continues to shrink. They sit at 45.5 over under. Let's talk with a guy who understands what that defense matters. DeMarcus Ware, a Hall of Fame finalist, Dallas Cowboy, Denver Bronco, and all around good guy. Hey, welcome aboard. Glad to have you around this morning, DeMarcus.
Hey, what is up, fellas? I heard that you said it's early in the morning. It's not early when you wake up at 5 o'clock like I do and get a workout in.
You see, DeMarcus, and you know what? It is proven that people that get up at 5 are just more productive people.
It's also been proven they're more tired.
Yeah.
Around about 6 o'clock, it's to go to bed.
Now we were talking about this, DeMarcus. We got to get this out the way. I guessed because you get the Yellow Jacket's on the way. It's on the way.
And congratulations.
Congratulations. It's on the way. You're a Hall of Famer. Everybody knows that. Anybody with two eyes that watch the game. I guessed you're about what? You about a 48 long, DeMarcus?
You know what? 48 and a half.
Okay.
Boy, you close.
That's because the dumbbell inclines and the chest a little bit broader. But I knew you were about a 48 somewhere in
there. Yep, exactly.
We were having a discussion whether you even knew your size. I said,
of course he does.
DeMarcus knows his size. He puts himself together. He understands.
Come on, man. You know I keep up with every single stat, every single number. We act like we don't, but we know.
Let's get into some numbers. And this has been something that we've been talking about with the Cowboys, and you have direct understanding of this. The Cowboys have a problem playing on grass. I don't know if it's mental, if it's luck, or whatever the case is. They're 1-4 this year on grass, and one of the reasons behind that is they're looking at the pass rush win rate, and it drops nearly 10% from the Cowboys on turf to grass. Why, as a defensive lineman, did you feel a difference on grass? Did you lose some leverage? Was there a change in your attack method when you were on maybe a little bit slipperier surface?
There is a big difference playing on turf and playing on the grass. I was a little bit more comfortable playing on the grass because you can bend, right? You can't get off like you want to, because sometimes your cleats will slip, and you know how you got to go from the half-inch nubby to a 3/4 nub that goes up under the cleat. It just depends, right? How wet the surface is, but you always are able to bend around the corner and get to the quarterback because the turf sort of moves with you. But when you're not turf but grass, but when you're on the turf, it's different. When you plant, that ankle's planted into the ground, so you sort of do a little bit more or choppier moves. You sort of power a little bit more, and you're not using a lot of your finesse moves like you would do on the grass. So that could be a change. I don't know, but for me, if I have an opportunity and that ball is snapped, it don't matter if it's the turf. It doesn't matter if it's the grass. If the quarterback is back there and he says, "Hut," it's time to get to work.
You won the Super Bowl yourself, DeMarcus. What is the single biggest difference between regular season and playoff football?
Regular season football, it's almost like you're getting the jitters out from the OTAs, mini camp, training camp, and then you settle in a little bit, right? And you know that you might have another game because now they have 18. But in the playoffs, everything that you work for, those 16 games, the OTAs, everything is falling on that one game, one day, and everything happens at one time. You only got 3 hours to, get that W. And guess what? There's not another game. There's another season, but there's not another game. And so it heightens up, and it's one of those things where, like, it's a must-win no matter what.
He is DeMarcus Ware here, courtesy of Bet Online. Go check out Bet Online's updated Super Bowl and conference futures, along with all the great crops right there at betonline.com. That's why he's here. Let's talk about the game at hand. Tom Brady on Monday night. When you see Tom Brady as a defensive lineman, what are the standard rules of operation when you go against the GOAT? What do you have to do to defend against this guy?
As a defensive lineman, it takes everybody to be one accord to beat Tom Brady. I was able to beat him twice in the AFC Championship when I was with the Broncos. I think I didn't beat him one time when I was with the Cowboys.
You didn't?
But, no, right.
Well, he's 7-0 against every Cowboy, so you're not alone.
I know that stat. Yeah, come on now. And we had to rush. The interior guys really had to push the pocket because he can step up in the pocket and throw the ball. He gets the ball off really fast, right, and put your hands up. The outside guys, we cannot rush behind Tom Brady. He steps up, she will get that ball off every time. So we had to sort of put him in a phone booth, make sure that he knew that we were there. It was not about the sack. It was about how many times can we hit him, how many times can we get in his face and make him uncomfortable to stop his timing. Because it doesn't matter how fast you get to him, he gets off the ball so fast that you're not going to get to him. So you got to disrupt the timing so then you can be effective and the corners can make those big plays.
DeMarcus, how do you know? I mean, we in this era we're in, everybody, we want to fire the coach right away, like they don't have families, like they haven't done a great job. But in your experience as a player, when do you know, as in the locker room, that a coach's time has come to an end? Because we can say what we want as the media and as fans, like, oh, he's got to go. But in the locker room, when do you guys know, like, oh, hey, you know what? I love him, but the time has passed him as far as head coaching goes?
When the chatter happens, when you start hearing players saying, man, I don't respect that coach, man. I don't think he knows what he's doing. When you start getting in the locker room and the captains start saying, why are we running that play? Why am I listening to him today? He don't know what he's talking about. When you start hearing chatter like that amongst the guys, it will filter out to the media. I know that hasn't happened, but when you start hearing things like that, that's when it's time to get rid of a new coach and bring some new character in there.
DeMarcus Ware joining us here on San Antonio Sports Star.
How you feel about Dak, DeMarcus? What is your value? I mean, you play with Peyton Manning, you played with some really, really good quarterbacks. When you watch Dak Prescott, how do you feel like you're watching a Super Bowl winning quarterback?
I see a Super Bowl winning quarterback with a lot of pressure on him. It's one of those things where I see when the defense is not playing well, when the special teams is not playing well, when, they giving up, plays here and there, Dak puts everything on his shoulders. A lot of quarterbacks don't do that, right? And Dak does that, and either he'll start trying to run the ball, start trying to, put the ball in little, tight, passing situations, and then something bad happens. And it's like, for me, I want for him to be more comfortable back there, like at the beginning of the season where it's nice and fresh, cool. Everybody's on one accord, and he's just out there playing. So I know that he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, but it's like he has to be comfortable in this game, especially going against Brady, because, Brady's been there plenty of time.
Right.
And this is probably one of the biggest games of his career. It's every year, it's bust or win the Super Bowl.
DeMarcus Ware joining us here on San Antonio Sports Star. Hey, when you're going to lay your money on, make sure you're going to betonline.com. DeMarcus, when you're looking forward for futures and props, who do you like in the Super Bowl?
In the Super Bowl, I want my boys in the Super Bowl.
Of course.
Sure.
Well, we like them, but do you see them there?
Yeah, we want them there. I can see them there. If they play like they played the first 5 games, I can see them there because the defense was playing lights out, right? Low scoring games, but then the offense was playing to a point to where they could not be stopped. Zeke was eating, CeeDee Lamb was catching passes. It was just a team show if they can play that way. But in the Super Bowl, I would probably pick the Bills on the AFC side, and on the NFC side, probably Philly. I still got to stay with the NFC East. I got to, support my East, so probably Philly and the Bills.
DeMarcus, before we get you out of here, Denver. A lot of people, we don't look at them like New York. We don't look at them like Dallas. But you were up there. That is a crazy, crazy fan base when it comes to their Broncos, and it's a mess up there. Talk about how ravaged that fan base is and how crazy it gets. I mean, again, it may not feel like Dallas or New York, but it is.
When you say it doesn't feel like Dallas or New York, it feels like a real football game. When you have negative 30-degree temps, people still have their shirts off. Their bodies are still painted in orange. And no matter what your record is, the stadium is full. That's when you have that sort of heartbeat that doesn't matter what my team is doing, I'm supporting my team. And that fan base up in Colorado was remarkable. It was one of those things where if every game I can get that, I would love that. right? It's not a wishy-washy fan base at all. Not saying Cowboys are that, but just saying that no matter what, they were there in those seats.
But as we're talking Broncos real quick, and they're obviously on a coaching search, I don't want you to name a candidate, but would you like to see them go on the defensive side of the ball, go get back to what made the Broncos great?
I think that's what we have to start at.
Mm-hmm.
We have to start from a defensive standpoint. They say defense win championships. They do. Because, when you get to the playoffs, it's all about what defense is going to play the best. Offenses are usually just managing the game at that time. So I think we should really lean towards a more defensive-minded coach, and the offense will start clicking from there.
Cowboys, Buffalo, go to betonline.com. Place your bets and your props. I want to thank them for bringing us DeMarcus Ware. I have a feeling in just a little bit over a month, you're going to get an early knock on the door from David Baker announcing what we all know is imminent. You're going to get your just desserts, going to the Hall of Fame finalist and soon-to-be gold jacket wearer DeMarcus Ware right here on San Antonio Sports Star. Thanks for setting your alarm and coming back after the workout and joining us today, man. Good luck. Stay healthy.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
He is DeMarcus Ware. It's an honor to have him on our air. And